Hello, everyone. Helen Murphy here at the Journal. With the return to school next week during the COVID-19 pandemic, we're going to connect with Paul Landry, Regional Executive Director of Education in the Strait Region, to talk about local preparations and expectations at a time of rising anxiety for many families in our area. So let's connect with Paul now. Good morning, Paul. How are you?
Good morning, Helen. Great. How are you doing?
It's a busy time with the school region, I assume, and all you and your team?
Yeah, these are busy days, making lots of preparations for getting our schools to reopen after not being open for 6 months. So lots of preparations during normal times in the week before school opening, but even more so this year with the current situation that we're in.
Yes, I've seen some people joke on social media that it's hard to believe that March break is finally coming to an end.
Yeah, well, I've heard that one as well, and it hasn't for many it hasn't been that long of a break, but because many continue to work obviously,
right,
and work really hard to get things kind of going back in the spring, and then to wrap up the learning in June, and then hopefully people were able to get a little bit of a summer vacation and a bit of break. But many of our staff have been quite busy during that period, cleaning our schools and getting things ready for reopening. So we have some people who were very fortunate to have some vacation, and a lot of people who have been working really hard to get schools ready for reopening and have not had a lot of opportunity to take some vacation. So we're kind of both ends, right? That we're working through that. So
and I think people are feeling for the teachers and the staff coming back to a new environment. Can you give us a few highlights, Paul, of when the students come in next week, how things are going to look and feel different for them?
Right. Well, we're following the provincial back-to-school plan, and which was released back in July by the province. And overall, I believe our preparations are going quite well. We're following the principles of the plan, which are really, the safety of our students and staff is foremost, and equity for all of our students. And of course, built into the plan is the flexibility if we have to make changes as we reopen. So, really, communication and education will be the key as we go back or get ready to school. And really, schools are going to look different because obviously we're going to be wearing masks as we are out in society now. When we go to public places, we are required to put our masks on and enter in. So that'll be similar when we get on the bus in the morning. There will be masks required to take the bus, and then when our students arrive at school, they'll come into they may come into a different entrance than they normally did, because we'll be trying to space them out and how they disperse once they get to school. But at each of our entry points, we'll have hand sanitizers available. So we really want to, get students to understand that it's really important to clean in and clean out. So as they're going into the building, they clean in, and as they maybe have to change spaces within their school or they go outside, that they clean out as well, either by using sanitizer and frequent washing of hands and those types of things. So it's going to look a little bit different. There'll be some directional signage for students to follow once they enter the building, so that we can distance them as best as possible within the schools and on their way to the classroom, and so a few things like that, Helen, that will look different. As well, students will probably move a lot more within the schools. It'll be teachers coming to students in their cohorts versus classes moving to another space. Whether they had to go to music or those types of things. It may be a different classroom location. Now the music teacher will go to their space. So that'll cut down a lot on student movement throughout the building and those types of things. So a few different things like that, Helen, that will look different.
And you've recently, Paul, been able to visit all of the schools in our region, which is a lot of driving. We're in a big area. What have you observed? I think you were checking to see how preparations are going. And of course, we still have a little time for final preparations. But what did you observe when you visited the schools? And how do you feel about those preparations? And what maybe are the things that really have to be tied up in the last few days before we open?
Yeah, so we have 11,000 square kilometers that we cover in the Strait Regional Center for Education and 20 schools. So every year prior to school opening, whether I was the regional executive director or in previous positions, part of our startup routine was that I went around and visited every building prior to startup to ensure everything had gone well, and I guess to meet and thank all of our operations people who work really hard to get our schools ready. So this year was no different. Although I guess it was a little different because it was 6 months or so since I had been out. We've been able to get out into the schools. So I was able to get to all of our 20 schools. And they look really, really good. We put some. We were able to with the pandemic. We were able to put a little extra cleaning on this year. Attention to get some things done, and a little extra paint and in certain places, and so the schools looked fantastic. And our staff, like I said before, have worked really, really hard, and they take a lot of pride in their buildings anyway. And as you can testament is when you walk in and those floors are just shining, and all of those pieces. So they take a lot of certainly a lot of pride in their preparation. In my travels, I was really impressed with how the buildings look. I just finished up last week, so there was still a little bit of excess furniture that we were still removing, which is part of the plan as well. It was to any excess furniture that was in classrooms to help with spacing and with cleaning, that those items were to be removed from each classroom. So some of that furniture was still around waiting to be moved, and I know that that's ongoing, and we still have time to complete that. So no, it was great to. It's always great to travel near the end of the summer to go out and see the schools and to touch base with our operations folks who do all that work in preparation for reopening.
Right. And my understanding, Paul, is that students don't have to wear their masks in the classroom as long as there's space for the physical distancing. Do we know how many classrooms in our region where that's not possible, or even a percentage maybe of where they're going to have to wear their masks in the classroom?
Yeah, I don't know for sure the percentage, but we do have a number of schools where students won't be able to do that. It's a smaller number. I would say just sort of a guess, probably under 30% of our schools in that category, just off the top of my head. But there will be students who do have to wear their masks throughout the day because they aren't able to physically distance. So we're taking the approach that this is new for our students, and that they're going to be wearing a mask a little longer than probably they'll be used to wearing it. And so we've had conversations with our school administrators to I guess convey the importance to them that our students are going to need some breaks along the way to maybe get outside and get some fresh air, get their masks off for a little bit, and move around a little bit, because typically a lot of our students, every 45 minutes to an hour or so, maybe get a chance to move from classroom to classroom. So there's a little bit of walking and movement, and we won't be doing as much of that this year as well. So it'll be important for our students to do their work in the classroom, but then probably take some more frequent breaks to get outside, get some fresh air, move around a little bit, and then come back in. So
Right. And hopefully the fall weather will be cooperative on that point.
yeah, we usually have a nice fall in this part of the world, so we're hoping that we've had a beautiful summer. So yeah, hopefully that will continue throughout the fall.
And maybe for later when we can't get outside as much, how is the ventilation system? We have a mix of older buildings and newer buildings. Is it correct to assume that some of the newer buildings actually have ventilation systems in the structure, and maybe that's more challenging with the older buildings?
Yeah, we have. We're quite well off. Our schools are, for the most part, considered fairly modern and new, and we have beautiful buildings in the Strait Regional Center for Education, and all of our ventilation systems are working well. We do regular maintenance on them and to ensure that they are working well. And if there is an issue that comes up, our maintenance staff get on it right away. So I'm quite confident that we are in good shape there. I know our operations staff are currently reviewing all of our buildings, the ventilation in them, to see if there's any further attention that needs to be given to them. But I am really confident that even in some of our older buildings, our windows work well. So, we can open the windows and get some fresh air to come in. But even in our older buildings, we have made changes to them to provide newer ventilation systems within those buildings as well. So that's an area that we feel quite confident that our ventilation works well.
Great. Do we know at this point, Paul, how many students are actually coming back for in-person instruction this fall, as opposed to families that might be choosing to do homeschooling this fall?
We typically don't rate at the start of the year, Helen. We have an idea, I guess, with regards based on enrollments and those sorts of things, but it's really hard to come up with a solid number at the start of school because people move away and people move in, and sometimes we get pre-registration, sometimes we don't. So it's really hard to get a number, but we're thinking, around in a general ballpark number, we're thinking around sort of 6,000 students, maybe give or take 100 or so in either direction. But
would that be down a little bit from a non-pandemic year?
No, I think we're possibly a little bit back in February, we thought perhaps, but since then we've received some more registrations and so on. So I think we'll be close to being even, really. We typically don't come up with a hard number, Helen, until the end of September, after everyone, I guess, the dust is settled and school is up and running, and we have all the registrations confirmed and that type of thing. But yeah, I think we'll be around even, I think, is my sort of estimate at this point in
time. Right. And your office was recently advertising for a few late positions, I guess, in terms of some more janitors and bus drivers, that sort of thing. Are you fully staffed now, or is there still a little bit of hiring taking place?
Yeah, we're close to being fully staffed. Staffing always really goes till close to the wire, close to startup, and then even as we start school up, we're always sort of hiring. Things come up that we have to replace positions and those types of things. But for the most part, we have a lot of our positions in place, and we'll be ready to go for startup. But as we said, there always seems to be positions that come up throughout the month of September, and really throughout all year. But we'll be ready to go for startup.
Right. And Paul, their success this fall, it seems, is really, there's the school team and there's the home team, right? And what exactly are we asking parents and guardians to do, both in the preparation to get their students ready to go back, but also there's a daily checks that the school, the Department of Education, I guess, is asking of parents as we go back?
Right. So, each day we're asking parents and guardians to go through the screening checklist with their children. It's sort of the at-home monitoring and self-screening checklist, which you have, and there's a number of symptoms that parents and guardians will be monitoring for in the mornings. And if their children exhibit some of those symptoms or exhibit symptoms of that, they're asked to keep them at home and just take care of them to see how they're feeling. I guess within the short term.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And as a last question, Paul, I have to ask, what's keeping you up at night? Is there anything that, you're worried, even if it might be a bit of a low risk thing, but is there a certain risk on your mind that does cause you concern?
Well, I guess with regards to, we take our direction from public health, and I have a lot of confidence in our public health system in the province of Nova Scotia. They've provided tremendous leadership, I believe, to this point in time, and got us where we've been able to, as you say, get out and enjoy the outdoors and be able to really function quite well in our community. So we take our direction from public health, and I'm quite confident with that, and I believe with our plan, if something does arise or cases start to arise, we take our direction for public health as well, and they will provide, I believe, really solid direction for us to follow. So we're not in this alone. We have our partners with us, and with education and early childhood development and public health and Department of Health. So I feel quite confident with that. There's a lot of change to how we're going to be starting school this year. Lots of different protocols and routines for students to learn and for our staff to learn. So we'll work through this together. I have that confidence that that we'll learn it together. We don't have all the answers at this point, but we will work through it, and we'll find solutions and we'll find answers to get through it. And it's really just a matter of everyone working together, including parents and guardians and our community partners, and we'll get the answers, and we'll figure it out, and hopefully we'll have a really successful year. But there's lots of things, and as we get ready for preparation of the school year, I was just actually talking to our transportation manager, and he just said we're good to go. So lots of those pieces. It's just bringing all those pieces together to get ready for school to start. That I guess keeps me up these days. But we have tremendous staff that have worked really hard to get ready. So I have a lot of confidence that we'll be ready to go.
Well, that's good to hear. We'll assume that you're sleeping okay so far.
That's right. Yep.
Thanks very much, Paul, for taking some time out of your busy day to talk to us, and maybe we'll connect again after things settle in a bit for the fall term.
Okay, great, Helen. That sounds great. Thanks. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.